But what? Okay. But as for Noble Drew Ali and the authenticity of the priesthood, okay, I gave you that. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. It is quite customary for the very nation to be redeemed to also be the last recognized their Savior has been born amongst them. When the Moorish American became humbled by the grace of the great God for ordaining to them their prophet Noble Drew Ali as their Lord and Savior, you understand where I'm going, the greater their prosperity. When the Moorish Americans are recognized as nation of people, then Noble Drew Ali will be honored as a prophet of Allah. Understand what I'm saying, Moors? You got to understand what I'm saying. Then and only then, to them shall all high roads lead to the peace of the earth, as in the heavens, Moors. So, the following I'm about to give, the following proclamation is a true testimonial and enactment of Noble Drew Ali's The End of Time, and the fulfilling of the prophecies. Appendix, Moorish Holy Quran 48. It bears witness the Moorish Americans are destined to be the righteous people, forming a clean and pure nation, Moors. Again, my brothers and sisters, please examine with care the purpose of these contents. When I'm talking about this, the purpose of these contents. If you don't have them, you should. Is to bridge the freedom of 60 million people. Most definitely, fam. Most definitely. I'm the message you all is. This is stuff you're supposed to know. We should be having this. That's why I be laughing when brothers be arguing. I said, bro, this is not, that ain't science what they talking about. That ain't stuff registered what Noble Drew Ali did. They making up fake stuff like Noble Drew Ali didn't register this. In a county clerk, they lying. They a lie. They a lie. They saying the Moorish Science Temple of America would have a tax ID. They a lie. The Moorish Science Temple of America, what Noble Drew Ali established. If they say that, they a lie. I ain't talking about what nobody else doing and putting Moorish Science Temple on it. I ain't here to argue. I'm saying what Noble Drew Ali established. That's a lie what people be saying. So I ain't here to rock no boat. I'm living in the house. But it bears witness that the Moorish Americans are destined to be the righteous people, forming a clean and pure nation. Again, please examine with care the purpose of the continents to bridge the freedom of 60 million people from the tombs of slavery, we still in slavery, into the family of nations with their Creator. This is what it meant by seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all this and all these things will be added unto you. Then did we know that? Oh, no, we didn't. Now, for the first time since the 1865 abolishment of slavery, witness the great document of manumission and true autonomy of a new nation of people since the Declaration of Independence and National Constitution of the United States of America, the Declaration Proclamation of Status and Jurisdiction of the Moorish Americans, the Moorish American National Government, the Grand National Seal, the Grand National Emblem. I'm just giving pay. We ain't here to argue with nobody. There is no God but the great God, the Moorish American National Government, Continental American Territories. I showed you the great seals and all that. From the office of the grand body and executive rulers of the Moorish American government, official declaration proclamation of the Moorish American nation, our status and jurisdiction, the Moorish American nation, 1865 AD, divine constitution, de jure, 1928 AD. I showed you more. We ain't got to argue. We bridge the gaps, man. We should want this. We should be sharing this. How somebody talking about they got some secret? That ain't more science. Ain't no more science, some secret. The Moorish American prayer. I know we know this. If we don't, let's dig, because we teaching. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Allah is my protector, my God and salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. We know that. We know that. A holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. We are the children of one Father, provided by his care, and the breast of one mother hath given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, the peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not to a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is an adversary, or adversity, If a brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and you love each other. Amen. Come on, Moors. Date: in the year of the great prophet of Allah of Ali, 120 AD, from 1/8/1866 to 2006 AD. To the Honorable United States of America, Supreme Court and Congress, the International Court of Justice, all free national governments, republics, monarchies, family of nations, indigenous people of the earth and the world's sovereign orders of the book, Muslims, Christians, Hebrew, Hindu, and Jews, and every country, kingdom, ingenious, tribe, and member of the human family, all nations, et all. Hear ye now, all creatures of thought. Wisdom speaks from the highest plane of the spirit life for the redemption of man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life. How? The proclamation of status and jurisdiction of the Moorish American. In the course of human events, the founding fathers of the United States brought forth on this continent two new nations. One, themselves a conglomerate of pale-skinned descendants of the nation of Europe. The other nation, a comedy of olive-skinned nationals extracted from various countries, affixed indigenously to the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, yet latent in slavery. Now, when the plane of universal justice, it has become necessary for the latter standing in their proper person to proclaim their true free national status, thus dissolving the political bands and assumable jurisdictions of the former. Are you following me? Contingent natives, descendants of Moroccans from the old empire, from the old Moorish Empire, whose ancient forefathers received permission from the pharaohs of ancient Kemet, which is Egypt, to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. In those days, Egypt was the capital empire of the Dominion of Kingdoms of Africa, as Washington, D.C. is the capital of the sovereign United States today, Moors. The illustrious lineage of Moorish American ancestry reveals that that they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. See? With its dominion and habitation of kingdoms. See? Those are things we must know. The nations, the tribes, and families of Northwest and Southwest Africa extend across the great Atlantis, even to the Northwest, Central, and South Americas. Also Mexico and Atlantis. All that. We touch all those parameter Moors. So we have to be willing to understand that. Oh yeah. See, it go in and out, but then remember, log on to my YouTube page. Everything is recorded. Live, you know how I be tripping. But all that is yours. All that areas I just named. If you missed it, the illustrious lineage of the Moorish American ancestry reveals they were the founders and the true possession of the present Moroccan Empire, with its dominions and habitation of kingdoms, nations, tribes, families of Northwest, Southwest Africa, extending across the great Atlantis, even into the present North, Central, and South Americas, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake, which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. Come on, Moors. We are born in the image and likeness of our omnipotent Creator, the great God, and indigenous to the continental lands of the Americas, then subject to the assumable jurisdictions of the various United States under what? Slave label abolished in 1865. I keep telling y'all, these black slavery codes was real. When you call yourself black, Abraham Lincoln defended the Moor in court. Real. the advent of we, when I'm talking about the proclamation of status, the advent of we, the Moorish Americans, were divinely ordained forth into rightful existence in due time as a nation by the will of the great God at the abolishment of slavery, Moors, as ratified by the United States Congressional 13th Amendment in 1865 AD, Moors. This congressional manumission of the sons and daughters of Africa brought to light a new nation of people under the earth. These new nations of West African descendants have now come to lawfully link themselves again with the families of nations and to worship under their own vine and fig tree. So when Noble Drew Ali said you study under your own fig tree, he ain't talking about your own. He talking about your mothers and forefathers. He ain't talking about you go make something up and rock the boat. Come on, man. We get into the science. We won, which have been the inherited birthrights of all men through the descendant nature of their ancient forefathers. This is the true and inalienable inheritance to every member of the human family, Moors, and nation under earth, on this earth plane. And the Moorish Americans are a part and parcel of this human family, Moors. The Moorish Americans are not Negroes. You are not Negroes. I'm sorry. Colored folks, yeah, black is beautiful, but it ain't your nationality. You are not black people, etc. Because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779. When Christopher Colombo, when he came, what did he say? Indians. He was right per se with the root of the etymology of indigo, but that ain't our nationality. We still Moors. But these were given to slave by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of duly constituted slavery in the United States. Come on, Moors. But this is a new era of time now, what I'm talking about. All men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by their government and the nation of earth. We hold these truths to be self-evident that man is made in the image and after the likeness of the great God, their creator, that no man can be Negro, black, or colored and be attached to the human family. Come on, Moors. Y'all know this. That's that Dre Scott. European rulers gave these labels to the Moors of West Africa in a process of what? Denationalization. Denationalization. The state of the Negro leaves a people in want of national roots, Moors. Ancient heritage is absent of mother and father, for which to honor, my brothers and sisters, that's Moors, which is your birthright. Albeit the carnal customs of man do not alter the nature of truth or the course of justice, thus the true free nationality of the ex-slaves. Now arising from the dust of North America is Moorish American, Moors. For man alone is reposed with consciousness, endowed with wisdom, and appointed with the gifts of the understanding from his immutable treasures, while being armed with resolution, Moors. The force of love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth has graced us Moors with these Latin powers. Unalienable, meaning you can't take this away from us. Unalienable rights. And the key of civilization, Moors, to uplift fallen humanity. That among these inherited rights are belief, faith, and fruition of perfectness and peace. Man, it's so much. I'm gonna keep going, man. My brother like keep going. He like, man, don't stop. I am, man. He like, you put it in the right perspective. We got to be willing to do the work. If we say who we are, why are we not willing to do the work and let the chips fall where they may be? That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be sharing this. Although the United States has never been without some form of her Negro slaves, the general American public has been kept in an esoteric history about the inevitable truth proclamation of status and that hollow free national name of the Moorish American natives, Moors. Nevertheless, among her more ingenious citizens, The noble history and prophetic return of the Moors and truth of our existence has always been known. That's why I tell brothers and sisters, if you ain't read this, The Golden Age of the Moors, man, you have to. You have to. You have to. If you can't get it, I got them. If your brother's part of me, I make them. I'll ship them to you. But I don't know what we would be doing. We'd be arguing all day. But the Moorish Americans, commensurable to every nationality, have the divine and national right to be themselves. I repeat, the Moorish Americans, commensurable to every nationality, have the divine and national right to be themselves, with hearts and minds pure with love and bodies clean with water. Clean with water. They are free. No nation or any other living thing is free until it is of itself. Unanaglated, independent, wise, and autonomous, with free national standards and principles to support their unfolding generations' Moors. This is the true meaning and attainment of freedom. The Moorish Americans are descendants of Moroccans, the northwestern capital of the mighty Carthage Moorish Empire, 700 BC, 1820 AD Moors, the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, born indigenous in the continental lands of America. The Moorish Americans are a clean and pure nation. We have natural derived our free national name, are Moorish by West African descent and American by indigenous birth. Moors? We now proclaim the heritage of our ancient forefathers, the ancient Moabites who inhabited Ameximum, the first true and divine name of the present-day Africa, with its extreme western lands of North, Central, and South Americas, with Atlantis and adjoining islands. Moors. We are the true heirs of the earth mounds. So what, you the leprechauns? Yeah. The pygmies, the twannies, pyramids, and the 40 tons Moors basilicats, heads built and sculpted by our seafaring forefathers, founders of the first civilization in the Americas, 10 to 20,000 years ago. We also proclaim parcel in America through the blood of our forefathers that has shed blood in the acquiring the independence and sustaining the prosperity and tranquility which has glorified the United States of America through all of her wars and conflicts, defending the principles of the republic for which it stands. I keep telling Moors, if you don't know about the history of the reign of Ferdinand and Isabella, man, come on. You stuck in one dispensation. That's one of the biggest wars in the world. Stripped you from our nationality. Take the turban and the fez. Come on. The Moorish Americans, endowed by their creator with the high principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, are rejoined by the family of nations upon earth. The new nation of Moorish Americans is the fruition of the original 13th Amendment with its full body of 20 sections, repudiated by the Reconstruction Congress. Now, not to be denied the right to proclaim their free national name before their constitutional foes, Moors, to be misconstrued as an act of aggression, rebellion, nor declaration of war against the harmony of the United States of America, its laws, citizens, nor allies, in lieu of inevitable compliance with the natural laws of indigenous comity of nations all over the world, both ancient and modern, which demands all men to proclaim their nationality in order to be recognized and accepted by all other free nationals. Do you hear me, Moors? Come on, if you don't, I ain't talking to you. We acknowledge the unavoidable destiny of our divine attainment and deliverance to be a holy people as undeniable, and in due time, Moors, the applicants of the 14th and the 15th Amendment are reconstructed and established forms of government designed to be destructive To these ends, 60 and 10 years of enforcement of the laws lay bare an unbroken history of iron hand oppression, Moors, which remain unchanged, and proven that descendants of West Africans will never be free, while woven into a fabric of European jurisprudence, which has threads of nationalism and neo-colonism. The United States of America, with her great Congressional 13th Amendment of 1865, abolished the institution of slavery, which in fact repealed and did not rescind wholly all slaves, slave masters, and slave names of said institutions, albeit contrived, and did willfully assume jurisdiction over the comatose ex-slaves, and extended its powers through the clause, all persons born were foreign solely to the re-establishing the institution of Negro, black, colored, chattel, and other commercial properties, which they had us in, as used in the 14th Amendment. This willfully act intentionally abused congressional powers of a free national government and alone buried the ex-slave in the shallow grave of ex post facto laws of its 14th and 15th Amendment, Moors. Therefore, today, the U.S. courts, through the several corporate status, still owns and have assembled, owns and have assembled jurisdiction of all such denationalized persons, clearly certified by the states, at live or at live birth as Negroes. So if you live at birth as Negroes, black and colored, etc., the U.S. 14th Amendment uses the term person to diffuse the 3/5 clause of its Constitution, Art 1, Section 3, and it was written strictly applicable to slaves and ex-slaves, misnomer Negroes, colored folks, black people. You know where I'm going. Under color of law, this document gives the United States clear title and ownership of said persons as property and events assumable jurisdiction over the automatism of fallen humanity. The 14th Amendment was ratified in full knowledge. It will perpetuate all so-called Negroes as the undeclared and wretched people to remain alienated and separated from the human family. Wow. I ain't finished, Moors. This mandates the ex-slaves into an unconscious act of voluntary enrollment by clinging to the names and principles that delude to slavery. As long as ex-slaves accept the slave labels of Negro, black, and colored people that has been certified upon their decree of live birth by the states wherein they were born, then they will live the life of a slave. Come on. We ain't talking about us, Moors, because we did it the right way, I hope. Bearing names that delude to slavery, yet not knowing they have been denationalized to the status of slave. Yet neither the United States nor other sovereign powers have established lawful jurisdiction over the clean and pure nation of Moorish Americans. Nay, neither written or indigenous people. I got to keep it lawfully in court. You got to know this, and indigenous people are Moors. Nay, neither written nor assumed, nor will such jurisdiction over the subject matter be surrendered, given, or hypnotized. Whereas the above decree of hostage making can have no jurisdictional bearing upon the clean and pure nation of Moorish Americans. The United States of America is now being called forth with its congressional powers as handed down in the last clauses of the Reconstruction Amendment before the International Bar of the Indigenous People and the League of United Nations for Human Rights, in the light of the full constitutional body of laws and principles of which it stands, to answer this proper where we at? Hold on, blah, 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 and League of United Nations for Rights. Okay, in light of the full constitutional body of laws and principles for which it stands, to answer this proper federal question and lawful challenge, to demonstrate the United States of America cannot muster adjudication, excuse me, to this hereby great national advertisement of jurisdiction. So I'm gonna show you Moorish American Nation petitioner versus United States of America, United States Congress, United States Supreme Court, averment of jurisdiction, respondent. I'm gonna show you that, then I'm gonna read it. This was sent to. I'm gonna show you. It was sent to George Bush, to them, the first Bushes. I'm telling you, man. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you, Morris. We talk about history. We talk about history. Okay, you logging back? Okay, yeah, we almost done, bro. I know you logged off. Okay, that was my phone. That was it. Yeah, you know how. Yeah. So we about to finish out, and then we'll be done. So therefore, that those were those laws, Moors, and I will read. Now comes the petitioner, the Moorish American nation, in proper persona, sui juris, and with constitution de jure, to move this averment of jurisdiction to the status of the Moorish American, hereby challenge the defendant, the United States, the United States Congress, United States Supreme Court, ETL, or all, to be recognized as a pure and clean nation, is now the order of today's judicial business. The supreme laws of the United States and all other free national governments judicially uphold. There can be no legal proceeding without the right order establishment of proper status and apposite jurisdiction. These two pillars of law must be in place and have precedent before the adjudication of all formal matters of lawful substance can be addressed. Did we know that? That's major. Exactly. That's what we must. I agree. This is what we supposed to teach. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yep. So that's the whole science of it. So like I was saying, that document, I show you again. This one was filed. As we get a clear, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you it, as you can see a little better. I don't know if you can see it all the way, but there. This is what we're talking about here. You see that? That's it. So as we proceed, this is what the document says. Hold on, let me wipe my face. Let me wipe my face. Let me wipe my face. This is what it says. Peace, fam. Peace. Actually, I'm gonna get me a little drink of water and then we'll finish it. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. All right, give me 1 second, family. We almost done. Give me 1 second. right, my bad. We had a little quick delay. So, as I read, it says, now comes the petition, the Moorish American nation, in proper or propria persona, so juris, and with constitution de jure to move this affirmment of jurisdiction to the status of the Moorish Americans, hereby challenge the defendant, the United States Congress, United States Supreme Court. Did we hear that? That's so profound, man. That's so profound. Did we catch that? I showed you the document. Moorish American Nation versus United States of America, United States Congress, United States Supreme Court. Affirmation of jurisdiction. As I read, and I quote, now comes the petitioner, the Moorish American nation, in proper persona, so juris and with constitution de jure to move this affirmment of jurisdiction to the status of the Moorish Americans, hereby challenge the defendant, the United States Congress, United States Supreme Court, ETAL, to be recognized as a pure and clean nation, is now the order of today's judicial business. The supreme laws of the United States and all other free national governments judicially uphold. There can be no legal proceeding without the right order, establishment of proper status, and apposite jurisdiction. These two pillars of law must be in place and have precedence before the adjudication of all formal matters of lawful substance can be addressed. Cited Supreme Court decisions, Amistad Mutiny of 1841, Dred Scott decision of 1856. The uniting of this new nation is the calling of one family, bearing their one free national name of Moorish American, is not to be misconstrued as a religious organization subjected to the United States and the above cited Supreme Court decisions, combined with resolve as Elon Gonzalez of Cuba versus the laws and citizens of the United States, where the lawful gnosis personifying the supreme issues of status and jurisdiction. These issues are relevant to the immediate matters of nationality and manumissions of the indigenous Moors to the continental breast of North America, Moors. Here now the greatest bounds of jurisdiction and power to the wisdom of the Supreme Court of the United States of America is hereby challenged to render in written persona its constitutional jurisdiction to govern the lost found indigenous tribe of the Moorish American nation. An estimated 60 million descendants. The U.S. Supreme Court in full authority to exercise the power of the United States Constitution, joined with the entire embodiments of Congress, now have the burden of proof to any jurisdiction to justly govern the clean and pure nation of Moorish Americans, present and in the proper person now before you. First Amendment, nor to be confused with those persons denationalized in the United States 14th Amendment under the ex post facto slave labels of Negroes, blacks, and colored people, when after no jurisdiction over the Moors Americas can be claimed and proven by the challenged sovereignty, whether spiritually, ancestrally, indigenously, politically, or legally, then both the lion and the lamb are to lay together, and neither will be harmed in the new era. Are you following me, Moors? I hope you are. They are not let peace to be still in the North American continent and the world, now and forever. Now the highest court in the United States being in want of said jurisdiction, and therefore without power to issue an in persona judgment, we the Moorish American vanguards, with our seal affixed upon here, do hereby declare the autonomy and sovereignty nation, uprightness, and independence of our first inalienable right to be free, to be ourselves, godlike in his likeness and an image. Come on, Moors. The Moorish American birthright of independence. The United States in her infancy bears witness that no nation will be free to live out in creed, personify the grand principles, and attain unlimited capacity of development while under the yoke, laws, and tyranny of another government. Neither has the Moorish American been free to be themselves in the 140 years, which go back to 1865, since their emancipation from Negro chattel slavery, while under the assumable jurisdiction of the U.S. 14th and 15th Amendments of granted privileges, separated from the rights guaranteed to all free national citizens and the body of her Constitution, Moors. The Moorish Americans, through rights of divinity, have come forth as a clean and pure people, empowered with the inalienable birthrights to be an upright, independent, and fearless nation. In accordance with the Declaration of Human Rights, we have the right to be known by one true free national name and by number with divine constitution, de jure officials of government with attache and ambassadors, principles of our flag and our holy book. And our holy book. And our holy book. We also have a divine creed. We also have a divine creed, Moors. Come on. Come on, man. We should know this. We should know this. We have the inherited rights to lands, airs, and highways of original civilization, inherit the cultivated by our ancestors, our ancient forefathers, and to ensure the descent sanctuary of our men, our women, our children, our prosperity. This is what we should be teaching. Who we are. Who we are. And then you will operate in the right jurisdiction. You understand what's yours and who you are. That to secure these rights, there are governments instituted among men deriving their just powers from the constant of the government. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is then becomes the just right of the people to abandon it and to institute new governments. I know y'all be reading it. We the people of the United States in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common events, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution to the United States of America. We are Moorish Americans. We're not getting it. We're not getting the essence of it. But whatever. But laying the foundation of the omnipotent principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, blah, blah, blah. Let me get to the good part, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. Because I can't read it all. Some of the stuff you should have. Okay, I'll give you this part. Okay, recognize the free national name and number and sovereign autonomy, of the Moorish Americans as the clean and pure nation with the government, religion, officials, flag, seals, et. all in glory of a proper person. To make in law and agree 70-year indigenous people's mandate from which to purge into realization to clean and pure nation of Moorish Americans within the security of Moorish America, to acknowledge be revisions of the U.S. law. There are now and henceforth two new nations brought forth of the continent to live in harmony from the breast of one mother, to provide with the necessity credentials for recognizing our ambassadors, sheiks, attaches, and national representatives, and firmly establish a perpetual communication for our securities, to establish a treaty of peace and friendship based upon the highest principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, a perpetual treaty with acts to strengthen the national securities of friendly Americas. I can go on and on and on. I can go on and on and on. I ain't gonna go over our bylaws. I ain't gonna hit that. But what I want to show you, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna read this. Okay. In the name of our great God, Allah, blah, 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 blah. The tribes, families, and lineages of one free Moorish American nation comes forth a century of Bays, Els, Alis, Duns, Days, Zulu, Washitas, and Nubians, etc., etc. We stand as the vanguards, executive, rulers, and official representatives, deriving our past just powers. But did you hear all them tribes when I say we all Moors? Did you hear me, Moors? Did you hear me? When I be saying somebody telling you just this, no, you all one. I said forth a sensory of Bays, Els, Ali, Duns, Days, Zulu, Washitas, Nubians, Et, and Als, or Els. We stand as the vanguards, executive rulers of the official representative, deriving our just powers in due time from the great God of our ancient forefathers, the inherited and divine anonymies, to link ourselves with the families of nations, hereunto stand declared, and hereby affix our seal, our seal, our seals with an S, our seals, proclaiming ourselves as one nation, bearing one free national name. Here go the signers and framers of the proclamation of status and jurisdiction of the Moorish Americas in proper persona, sui juris. And this, and I'm finna give you this, oh, listen to this. Elihu in Pleasant Bay, 1942, Norfolk, Virginia. Asha in Pleasant Bay, 1956, Baltimore, Maryland. Mecca E. Pleasant Bay, 1951, Baltimore, Maryland. Joshua Land in Pleasant Bay, 1988, Shiloh, Pleasant Bay, 1957, These are all the people that register as Moors from the Moorish Science Temple. When brothers be saying, well, they get an ID from somewhere else, and I say, I'm not here to argue with that. That's fine. But when you become a Moor at the Moorish Science Temple, you are registered. This going all the way back to 1942. Look, you don't gotta listen to me. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, that's just the science, man. We don't get into arguing. It's recorded. So what I read, what that was, and it's over, and it's more. It's more on the back from 1975 all the way to 71, 1948. I mean, look at our register. When I be telling brothers, I understand people making IDs. I ain't disputing that. But are you a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America? I don't know. I ain't arguing with nobody. You make what you want. You make what you want. But registered above are the embryo vanguards and forerunners representing a living family of 60 million witnesses and members bearing one free national name and appearing in proper persona, sui juris, proclaiming their one free national status of Moorish American nationality before their government. They stand to be recognized by the nations of the earth. Each representative has proclaimed their proper person via Moorish tribal name. When I tell brothers, you don't give up your culture. Don't nobody tell you what hair wrap to wear. You see the brother that's Washita, they wear the feathers, but they have their feathers in it. Some brothers wear their feathers, whatever. Year of freedom, birth, and original state, territories of the said birth, originally certified under the de facto jurisdiction of the United States. Dear readers of the advised, the above declaration and proclamation of Moorish American status and jurisdiction has been mailed as a notice to the President of the United States via his father, the 41st President, through the following diplomatic missive. The missive was received by his office on April 24th, 2016. And I'm going to show it to you all, the receipt and everything. However, there has not been a written response as of this date, June 7, 2006, and is now being submitted into the worldwide public domain via the website. You can find the website. I'll give it to you, the 7 Seal Publications. As declared, this holy doctrine will now follow up the legal spine of the status quo into the final or the finale of the Moorish American national recognition and acceptance. In other words, in Noble Drew Ali words, the only way out of the fire, how, Moors? Is through the fire. The letter to the Bush administration has not been altered except in the form to put it, in the paper and how the brothers put it on the site. So I'm going to read it. Well, I'm going to show you it, then I'm going to read it. See what that say. Then I'm going to read it to you. That's right. I'm going to read it to you. For you can see what that say. What it says? It says, Honorable George Herbert Walker Bush, Office of George Bush, ETL, AL, 10000 Memorial Drive, Suite 900, Houston, Texas, 77024-3412. Enclosed, Moorish American Declaration Proclamation, April 19, 2006. We pray you, your family, and all true American citizens are well. This is a cover missive of illustrious and diplomatic stature. Verily it is a forerunner notifying an installation of the enclosed Declaration Proclamation of the Moorish American Nation. The intent of nature of this document, Moors, are of the highest honor and principles. They derive from the pure heart and minds of the Moorish American people, having formed themselves into a clean and pure nation. Now in due time, our hearts is being extended to the heart of the United States of America through its presiding administration. Through diplomacy is always the first course of communication amongst men of free national standards and principles. Ergo, this directive is being sent through Honorable George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st President, as a follow-up from the hand-delivered version on or about January 23, 2006, by Mr. Allen and Flora Poe, District Director of the Women's Republican Party. To date, there has not been a responding activity acknowledging the receipt of the particular outreach. Due to the nobility and magnitude of this long-awaited solution, it would only be befitting to make every virtuous effort possible to allow the lion and the lamb to rest together and neither be harmed when morning comes. The sensitivity of the supreme issue merits the attach of the highest caliber to light the pathway of millions to follow. He must be in right order because of magnanimous proportion of the venture, with the statesmanship of devolve into utmost of its value with prudence. For this historical endeavor, the Honorable 41st President has been our channel of choice to assure perpetual greatness to American due. First, history of being a U.S. ambassador. Second, Director of Security Central Consciousness. 3, the guider of the nation first family. And 4, integrity and immediate accessibility to the sitting president, Honorable George W. Bush. This course Moorish Americans present in North America is a hand clasp of unity. You see, coming together, when I say the Masons take all the stuff you don't understand, a hand clasp of unity. A hand clasp of unity. A hand clasp of unity being pursued above a precedent sitting and the more publicized appellate procedures offered through the U.S. federal courts. Not because the ultimate decision would not be victorious, but the sequence would not allow Mr. President the first opportunity to exercise his executive opinions and deploy the judicial arms to personally assist in the ordination and civil purging of Moorish consciousness into the human family of nations. Indeed, there is still much wisdom to be learned from the descendants of Africans. Our Messiah and the first Moorish American patriot, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, 1886-1929, instructed us, all Moors, to go to those who know law in City Hall and government and ask in an intelligent, and go act an intelligent. Don't you know the doors are always open for you to go and ask? And go act in an intelligent tone, and they will give you a favorable reply. Drew Ali further stated, I am certain the present administration will be happy to help you or to help us to bring our people out of the darkness into the marvelous light. I promise you, because they know. But you go in a peaceful manner. The attainment of freedom is found within the conscious minds of true citizens. With recognition of one's forefathers, our sentinels reveal today's modern nations are not new Moors. They each carry the inherited nature of the predecessors through the cloak or the clock of destiny into our mark upon the world at the age touch of time. We as a new nation of people, bearing one free national name, have risen from the force of human freedom President George W. Bush in 2005's second inaugural address. Also, in the grand speech, President Bush declared, "Our goal instead is to help others find their own voice, attain their own freedom, and make their own way. And that in proclaiming of self-government, no one is fit to be a master, and no one deserves to be a slave." That's why I tell you, Obama dropped Jews. You have the right of a nationality. You have the right to change it. The right of indigenous people. The right of a child. Come on, man. Look it up. Through these documents, we are requesting his said help in being heard, attaining our own free national status, and making our own way back to being recognized by the human family of nations, Moors. Sovereignty is contingent upon the liberty of its citizens, where the freedom of a nation is naturally assured. When we, the Moorish Americans, are proven in closed declaration proclamation, are not asking for an authorization from the United States to be, because we are today what our forefathers were yesterday, without doubt or contradiction, Moors. On the contrary, we are seeking a harmonious, timely, and lawful manner upon which to place due notifications of our self-recognition. The Moorish Americans are a clean and pure nation, and as an immaculate nation, we have justly come into existence with the ratification of the 1865 13th Amendment, abolishment of slavery. Although the 1868's 14th Amendment gave the Congress of the United States assumable jurisdiction over all persons born or naturalized, since the ratification of the 14th and 15th, that's the ex post facto to the 13th Amendments, the Moorish Americans have been a comatose people, certified as mental Negroes, blacks, colors. I call them NBCs, Negro, black, colored, slaves. They were not taught to be themselves until 1913 by their Moorish Messiah. We got to get a credit to the credit where it's due, which was Noble Drew Ali in America, bringing the Islam to America, our Islam, the I self-law master. And at that time, he was assisted by the presidential candidate, New Jersey State Governor Woodrow Wilson, to legally introduce the faith of Muhammad into the West. Research it. As we are an estimated 47 to 60 million Moorish people indigenously breasted herein the continental North America territories. We represent the vanguard of the people who's recognized it by the grace alone, and we all have not awakened at once. So I'm going to skip to this because I'm done. Now watch this. And it's closing. My president, I ain't going to read all the letter, but you can research it. I can send this to my brothers and sisters, but it's going to cost me to send it. That's why I said it costs. It costs me to ship it. If you don't want to pay for it, whoop-de-doo, get it yourself. If you Moors, get it just that's why I said I don't charge a lot. I can send you the documents, you can download it, it's nothing. But if you want me to print it and bind it, that's a service. I do college books and everything. So if you want my service, it's going to cost. But I can send it to you to download it yourself. But then you're going to go take it to Barnes & Nobles. I mean, not Barnes & Nobles, the Office Depot and Staples, and they're going to charge you to do it. And you could have paid your brother. And that's what I'll be talking about. But whatever. But Mr. President, we humbly ask you send us an immediate acknowledgement of your reception of our documents. This is necessary to avoid redirecting the course of this inevitable events. If it is your will and pleasure, you may issue instructions and arrangements via phone call, email, write, or otherwise wise contact I direct at the contacts below my signature. We look forward to the great day when former slaves and former slave masters can link themselves with the families of the nations, and none will be in want. And none will, link themselves with the families of the nations, and none will be in want of love, truth, peace, freedom, or justice, health, or wealth. That's my 2 cents. Upon your request, I will forward you the list of cabinet officials which will be present. For your disbursement, we prepare enclosed 5 original copies of the Moorish American Declaration Proclamation of Status and Jurisdiction. Each copy of the aforesaid document and this missive will bear the embossed National Moorish American seal to assure their authenticity. Through our high principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, honorably, Sheikh Eli in Pleasant Bay, Divine Minister, Grand National Chairman of the Moorish Americans. I'm finna show you the receipt, the proof of the postal and delivery receipt to the president. Here you go. Here go the receipt. You gotta believe me. I got the letter. And the president, nobody responded back. But what the Moors should do, still go to him. That's what we're supposed to do. This is official documents. So if you're a Moor, the letter I gave, that's real. And when you go to your courts and stuff, and to the mayor's office, they know it's real. That's what we're supposed to do. When we all Moors and go through the right way, and we're going to be recognized as a nation, it's right. This was sent to the president, the Bush. They didn't respond yet, but most people know. Here go the receipt. So that's the work we're doing. We not out here arguing, trying to squat no houses to drive without no license, no dumb stuff. This is the stuff that I say United Nations law, where it's in the Library of Congress, where they know this stuff. That's what I'm saying. And if you're not understanding that letter that was sent is there, it's documented. It's there. They didn't get a response, but we know. So why not close, Moors? We got to know this stuff. We got to know this stuff. We got to know this stuff. I mean, I touched on this yesterday in the lecture. I'm not even going to go on it, but my brother like, man, I got to. I'll do some more tomorrow. I'm hungry. But it's so much stuff in here, man. I can't go. It's too much. But we got to know this stuff, man. We got to know this. This is for us. The Adapt lessons, all that stuff, that ain't for nobody to hide from you. If you're more, you should have this stuff. But I love you all. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. Peace.